Welcome to our explainer. Today, we're diving deep into TWI job instruction, or TWI JI for short, and unpacking exactly why it is the absolute bedrock of operational excellence. Look, if you've ever dealt with wildly inconsistent quality, a revolving door of employee turnover, or thick operating manuals that just sit on a shelf gathering dust, you are in the right place. We're going to trace the roots of this battle-tested practice that literally transformed wartime production and eventually became the secret weapon of the Toyota production system. Let's get into it.
So, here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover TWIJ and lean management, look at some of its powerful benefits, go over the essential preparation, break down the legendary four-step method, and finish up with how to maximize your success.
Let's jump right into Section 1. TWI, CHI, and lean management, the human-driven foundation. At its very core, job instruction highlights a really profound truth. Teaching someone else how to do a task, that's not some innate talent you're just born with. It's a highly specific, developed skill that's totally separate from your technical knowledge. You could have the most brilliant, most experienced operator on your entire factory floor, but if they don't know exactly how to transfer that knowledge, all that expertise is just locked in their head forever. Job instruction bridges that gap. It trains your leaders and your veteran operators exactly how to instruct, making absolutely sure that the one best way is communicated and replicated perfectly every single time.
And this leads perfectly into why so many lean tools fall flat without job instruction. There's this great quote, "Continuous improvement without TWI is like a bicycle without pedals." Think about it. You can have your Kaizen events, your Kanban boards, your rigorous 5S systems, lots of gears turning, but you are not moving forward if your human foundation isn't standardized. If you don't have a bulletproof way to teach work standards, any process improvement you make is just going to degrade over time because people naturally drift back to their old habits.
Think about how most companies train right now. It's the classic go follow Joe shadowing method. You hire someone new and you tell them, hey, just go follow our best guy around. What's the problem there? Well, that veteran worker probably has hidden tricks they don't bother explaining, or they skip undocumented steps. If you have 3 different veterans across 3 different shifts, you're going to end up with 3 completely different ways of doing the exact same job. By ditching that flawed shadowing method and using TWI job instruction, we squeeze all that chaotic variation right out of the training process. We guarantee that work standards aren't just theory on paper, but are actually lived and breathed on the shop floor through structured coaching.
Moving on to Section 2, let's look at the hard data and the undeniably powerful benefits this brings to your operations. According to documented tracking metrics from the U.S. government, implementing TWI drives an incredible 45% average increase in productivity. When your employees know exactly what they need to do, exactly how to do it, and exactly why they're doing it, they hit full proficiency so much faster. All that daily confusion and second-guessing completely eliminated.
Even more impressively, downtime is slashed right in half. Why? Because the process is finally stabilized across every shift and every worker. Human error drops like a rock. You're going to see fewer defects, way fewer accidents, and a massive drop in rework. When the one best way becomes the only way, your operations start running like a well-oiled machine.
But honestly, what's most fascinating to me is this final data point. Okay, a 45% productivity bump and a 31% increase in employee engagement are fantastic. But look at that spike in improvement ideas, up 101%. Job instruction doesn't just crank up output, it literally doubles the amount of improvement ideas coming from your floor workers. Because when your people deeply understand their processes, when they know exactly why every key point matters, they finally have the clarity to spot inefficiencies and suggest really meaningful, actionable improvements.
Let's move to Section 3, Essential Preparation and Planning. This is where the magic actually starts. Here's the thing. Flawless training actually happens long before the instructor even says a word to the trainee. Leaders need to master 2 critical prep tools to avoid chaotic, unfocused instruction. If you don't know who needs training, what exactly you're teaching them, and the deadline for when they need to be proficient, your training program is basically just daily firefighting, instead of a proactive strategy. The first tool is the training timetable, sometimes called a versatility matrix. Think of this as your radar, and maps out your team's current skills against your upcoming production needs. You list out the employees, their primary tasks, backup tasks, and explicitly state who needs training by what date. This lets supervisors see the future, whether it's a production shift, upcoming vacations, or retirement, so you know exactly who to train before a crisis even hits. The second tool is the real secret sauce, the job breakdown sheet, or JBS. This forces the trainer to slice the task into logical, digestible pieces.
It uses 3 simple columns. First, important steps. This is what you do to advance the work. Second, key points. This is how you do it, capturing all those hidden tricks, knacks, and critical safety rules. And third, reasons, why that key point matters. Linking the how directly to the why is the absolute best trick for building strong, conscientious memory in adult learners.
Now please remember this, the job breakdown sheet is not some thick manual you just leave on a desk. It's a dynamic, living script used actively during training to ensure nothing gets forgotten. Standard operating procedures are great for compliance, but they are usually terrible teaching tools. The JBS extracts just a few simple, punchy words from those complex SOPs to act as speaking cues for the trainer while they demonstrate the work. Let's transition to Section 4, the 4-step training method. This is where rubber meets the road.
Let's see how this all comes together in the legendary 4-step method. Step 1, prepare the learner. Put them at ease, find out what they already know, and get them interested in the job. Step 2, present the operation. You demonstrate the job step by step, clearly calling out the steps, the key points, and the reasons. Step 3, try out performance. Have the learner do the job while explaining those steps, key points, and reasons back to you. This lets you catch and correct any errors immediately. And finally, Step 4, follow up. Put them on their own, designate exactly who they go to for help, and slowly taper off the coaching as they build confidence.
And here it is, the golden rule of job instruction. If the learner hasn't learned, the instructor hasn't taught. This completely shifts the dynamic. In the past, if someone made a mistake, we'd blame the worker, right? Oh, they didn't pay attention, or they just don't have the skills. But this rule holds the supervisor completely accountable for the training's success. If the learner struggles, the instructor has to look in the mirror, pull out that JBS, and figure out where they dropped the ball in their teaching.
And finally, Section 5, maximizing your success and actually making this culture stick.
To make job instruction truly sustainable, you absolutely need unwavering support from top management. Leaders have to champion this. Second, you must carve out dedicated time for your supervisors to write their breakdowns. You cannot just expect them to cram this into a 60-hour week of firefighting. Third, use a robust train-the-trainer model to build internal coaching capability, so you aren't reliant on outside consultants forever. And lastly, maintain consistent coaching and audits to ensure that 4-step method is being rigorously followed.
I want to leave you with this provocative thought to challenge how you're currently operating. Are your work standards just thick binders sitting on a shelf, or are they actively living in your people's hands? Remember, if a standard only exists on paper, it's not a real standard. Job instruction breathes life into those documents, directly transferring that critical knowledge into the hands and minds of your team. Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer, and we really hope you feel empowered to go out and transform your training culture starting today.